If you became Prime Minister, which coalition policy would you like to repeal the most?
I think the most important thing for us when we get back into government is to undo some of the damage that the coalition is planning on doing to our society, to our public services. We've seen it with Building Schools for the Future and the cancellation of the modernisation of our schools, which were making such a difference to kids up and down this country. And the reason why I, as leader of the Labour Party, would try and ensure we got this coalition out in less than 5 years, in particular by putting pressure on the Liberal Democrats, is that I really fear the damage they're going to do.
There's a very, very long list of coalition policies I'd like to repeal. I think that the immediate cuts in public spending, which the Liberal Democrats campaigned against before the election, are hugely damaging and risky. And the VAT rise is also the unfairest tax rise. I think, though, my biggest concern is this assault on the welfare state, because by trying to say the welfare state should only be for the poorest, I fear they will ghettoise support. They'll make it easier to pare back and cut support, and will undermine public support for what I think is really important, a universal welfare state which does more for those who need it most. So it's the assault on the welfare state and the underlying view that public bad, private good, that is the biggest change. And I can't believe a Liberal Democrat Deputy Prime Minister is going for these arguments, although I guess if you read the Orange Book, these are pretty right-wing Liberals.
The coalition policy I would most like to repeal would be the white paper on the National Health Service, which in my view represents the biggest threat to the NHS in its 62-year history. The plans they are putting forward threaten to unpick the very fabric of a National Health Service, and they are a recipe for the fragmentation of our NHS, marketisation and a postcode lottery writ large. The effect of lifting the private patients cap on NHS trusts at the same time as scrapping the 18 weeks maximum wait means that hospitals can devote more time to private patients and let NHS waiting lists get longer, so they can devote more theatre time to private patients, not having to worry about the effect that it has on NHS patients. And that, for me, is a return to the very worst of the Tory NHS, that old choice where people were told, well, you can either wait for a long time or you can pay to go private. I'm so proud of what Labour did to improve our National Health Service, to make it a good service for the vast majority of people. It makes me want to weep when I see this document come forward, which in my view threatens to damage and set back all of that progress that we've made in the NHS. The coalition agreement said no top-down reorganisation in the NHS. It is the biggest U-turn in political history to bring forward, within a matter of weeks, a white paper that rips up that coalition agreement. So I believe we need to have a grassroots-based ground war against this white paper. We need to put pressure on those Liberal Democrat MPs whose voters, in my view, didn't vote for the breakup of the National Health Service. We need to fight this on the ground and then in Parliament, and I believe if we fight it effectively, we can stop it, because I do not believe there is a democratic mandate for a white paper which breaks up the NHS and will change its character forever and fundamentally.
Well, it's really the cuts package. I mean, some of the things the coalition has done or said it's going to do on reviewing anti-terrorism legislation and doing away with mandatory ID cards, I actually support. I also support what they say they're going to do, which is stop putting children in detention centres. But I'm very much opposed to their cuts package. I think it's going to be very damaging for the UK economy.
The Building Schools for the Future programme is something I invented, so it sticks in my gullet that they have abolished this in a completely stupid, never mind inefficient and confused way of proceeding. So that would be my number one, but they have given us plenty in the first 100 days that we should oppose, and we should oppose them vigorously, but we also have to defeat them, and we have to defeat them through political argument and through organisation.